is an experienced professional supply chain management and business consultant at the agronomic industry. So please welcome.
Thank you.
We're downloading your presentation. You can use that like anything. Yeah. Okay. Just go ahead and start.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. I'm very glad of being here with you all. Thanks to Libre International and the Silk Road Foundations for making this magnificent event possible. Thank you very much. I was 10 years old when my father told me that something really bad had happened. He was completely right. At that time, I can't even understand the situation we were living and how many lives were involved. So as I told you, I was born in Guayaquil. Guayaquil is the largest city in Ecuador. Ecuador is a small but warm country located in South America, actually bordered by Colombia and Peru. Ecuador was born as a republic back in 1830 after being separated from the Gran Colombia. My country and its people have suffered for many situations, but one of the worst of them happened 20 years ago, and here is the history. Next one, please. Next one, please. Thank you. First of all, I have to introduce you to this beautiful lady. Her name is Dora de Ampuero. She founded one of the most important think tanks in Ecuador 30 years ago. I really love her, not only because she led the master plan that saved my country, but also because, thanks to her, I was introduced to the ideas of freedom. Next one, please. Next one, please. Thank you. So, Ecuador official currency was the sucre. But our currency lost the essential characteristics by which it had to exist: store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. This happened for many reasons, but mainly because the central bank decided to print more money irresponsibly, money that had not been produced by the economy, just printed paper without any support. Next one, please. At the beginning of the year 1999, the rate of exchange was 4,000 sucres per dollar. After only 6 weeks, it reached 28,000 sucres per dollar. Inflation was 60% and the rate of devaluation exceeded 300%. In March 1999, the government closed the banks for a whole week, then reopened it and bailed out some of them by issuing bonds and created a new agency to guarantee the backing of deposits in the event of a bank failure in 1999. The monetary base grew by 552%. People adopted dollars informally at first in an effort to avoid losing their purchasing power. Like most countries, Ecuador has a central bank. Prior to dollarization, people had grown accustomed to the idea that determination of the foreign exchange rate, interest rate, and purchasing power results from decisions made by the government and the Ecuadorian Central Bank. Adopting a monetary standard that was independent of Ecuadorian control, however, required a slightly different way of thinking. The system was unfamiliar, and many people said that it could not, would not, and should not be done, but it was done. It has now lasted longer than any other monetary policy in Ecuador since the 19th century, with highly beneficial results. Finally, the government, guided by IEP's economic team, decided to officially announce the transition to dollarization back in January 2000. Next one, please. The man on that picture on the right side was our last president, Rafael Correa. His political project was completely aligned with socialism. Next, please. He once said, "We have no monetary policy. This is like going to a war without guns." Next, please. Only 1 year later, he wrote an article called "How to Get Out of Dollarization." Next, please. As many Ecuadorians, I'm really thankful that he couldn't do anything against dollarization in my country. Next, please. The next one, please. Thank you. Now, after 20 years of dollarization, the proofs are countless that it has been beneficial to the country. Inflation has been reduced. Purchasing power has returned to family income, and both interest rates and country risk have decreased. Monetary confidence has at last returned, allowing long-range assets to be acquired without fear of devaluation. This positive change in expectations, along with greater transparency in negotiations, brought economic stability. Businessmen were forced to become more competitive, while also decreasing their government rent-seeking, because they could no longer depend on earnings that had resulted from the continuous yet unpredictable devaluations triggered by the whim of government. Economist Steve Hanke has developed a misery index in which he adds the bad elements of the economy, such as the inflation rate, interest rate, and unemployment, and subtracts the good elements, such as the rate of growth in real terms during the prior 12 months. Venezuela has the worst ranking of this index, and Ecuador has one of the best rankings in Latin America. The two countries after Ecuador with the best rankings on the misery index are El Salvador and Panama, both of which are dollarized. Next one, please. Ecuadorian people are still fighting against government control in many aspects, but we are really proud that the government can control our currency, but the currency is limiting the power of the government. We will continue fighting for our freedom because our families deserve it, and I encourage you to do so. Thank you very much.